Hello, I'm Paul.
I'm Adam.
And I'm Ben.
And welcome to the Film Busters podcast. The film show with no filters, no prisoners taken, loads of disagreements, but one hell of a love for cinema.
If you want to hear three friends ridiculing each other for an hour or so regarding their taste in films, then you have come to the right place.
In each episode, one of the team picks a film for us to discuss. It could be anything from a recent cinema release to an all-time classic.
So, strap in and get ready to get mad or get vindicated as we guide you through the murky world of being a film geek.
If you like what you hear, you can also find us on Twitter and Instagram using @FilmbustersPod. You can also find each of our individual accounts. I'm at Filmbusters Paul.
I'm at Filmbusters Adam.
And I'm at Filmbusters Ben.
If you want to use your eyes instead of your ears, you can also visit the website at filmbusterspod.co.uk.
And if busting makes you feel good, you can also support us at patreon.com/filmbusters for exclusive content.
Or shoot over and get some groovy merchandise at society6.com/filmbusters.
Alright, can we just get on with this now, please?
Filmbusters.
So what do you reckon the surprise film at the film festival is going to be, Ben?
I would very kindly take to it being June.
I would like it to be June. I feel like they're doing a lot of press screenings for it, so I feel like because it's so available almost already, then it could well be that.
The thing is, I actually don't want it to be June in some ways because I want to see June in IMAX for the first time.
Fair enough. Well, this is
what
very
is the
good
secret
screening.
So it's part of the London Film Festival. They
it is
announced
London
a full
Film
lineup, yeah, and then in the middle of it is a secret film. So 2 years ago, they didn't do it last year because of it being online, but 2 years ago it was Uncut Gems. Many people thought it was going to be Little Women, and then it turned out to be Uncut Gems. There was a lot of unhappy people.
Before that?
I don't know. The thing is, it's always been big. It's never just like, and now here's this film that no one's heard of. It's always been a big name. And I think because people just blindly buy, they have to make sure that it's good, because otherwise they could upset a lot of people. So it has to be something that's got to be generally a crowd pleaser. And I think Halloween Kills would isolate a lot of people.
I think June is like the big one of this year, and I think a lot of people will be happy to see
Does June already have a date at the festival?
No, it's not playing at the festival, which was a massive surprise, which is why I'm sure it's going to be that.
Makes sense.
But I'd still be
good.
excited for that, and as long as it's good, I'll be more than happy to see it in the IMAX afterwards.
Yeah.
Well, if it's good enough.
Well,
It also might be a film that it seems like there's a lot going on that you probably might need to see twice.
It could be this year's Avatar.
I hope not. I take it, do you both not like Avatar? I don't think we've ever spoken about this.
I just think it was so overhyped.
It was fine.
It was just fine. Yeah, it was fine.
what
but
year
it's like
did that come out?
It's got to be like 2005, 6.
And they're still talking about it now.
Do you want to know how naive I used to be? I walked out of that screening with my girlfriend at the time and a friend, and I said, "That's the best film I've ever seen in my life."
Did you really say that?
I did. And
You now give it a 6
within an
out of
hour
10.
or two, I realised the error of my ways, and as time passed, it's just more and more of a nothing.
It came out in 2009.
Wow.
Look
I
at that.
never
I
thought
was
it was one of the
23
best
and
films
done.
ever.
The thing that annoys me more about Avatar is the fact that they're making 5 of them.
I have the Blu-ray, and I intend to watch it again, but I bought it years ago, and it's like, why have I got it?
It's on Disney Plus.
I think you were in the vein of film Twitter back then. You must have been to be taken so much away with.
But there was no echo chamber like Twitter then.
No.
It was just what Empire Magazine told me to like, I guess.
Yeah, I'd say.
I feel like it came with that hype that this is the greatest film ever because we've done this, that, and the other. So you almost feel like you had to like it because it was so groundbreaking, wasn't it?
Yes.
Even if you didn't like the film, you had to like everything else that went with it.
I know, and James Cameron got a lot of good grace because he was Cameron, and like, I don't know, the last film from him was it Titanic? I don't know. Feels like he should have done something after that.
the technology's good, but the film isn't.
Yes.
That's what it is.
Yes.
Yeah, he did Titanic before that. And then
See, there's a
Terminator.
lot of expectation from the director of Titanic comes Avatar. You watch it,
True
and bear in
Lies.
mind at that time, because it was 3D, right?
Yeah, it was like 3D
Yeah.
CGI to the max.
I feel like it was one of the first 3D films that was going through that.
It was meant to be
there
that
was a
whole
big
thing of
spurt
like,
it.
this is a film made for 3D rather than this is an upgraded 3D film.
Fucking 3D, I hate it.
Me too.
Yeah, I'm glad it's one
So
of the
annoying.
very good things. I'm glad that never caught on.
I know, totally.
I can't think of a single 3D film or film that was made better by 3D. It's funny that we're talking about this. Pacific Rim was shown in 3D.
Julio gave it an 8, and that's the highest on my letterbox.
Well, Avatar,
Yeah.
maybe he watched it 12 years ago and was under the cloud of the novelty of the thing.
Because he got a review on it, because he normally has reviews on his films.
Julio loves all sorts of
Maybe.
peculiar films and dislikes
He
all
does.
sorts of peculiar films. I can't work that man out.
Ever the contrarian.
Ever the contrarian. It's not a joke that he's a contrarian. He just
No.
fucking is, man. Much more so
Yeah.
than me. Me and my Paddington
Indeed.
takes are nothing compared to Julio. They really are.
Well, we might as well steal that segue of Pacific Rim was released in 3D, because we are doing Pacific Rim today,
Yes.
and it is a suggestion.
The rim in the middle of the Pacific.
Exactly.
Or specific.
What is Pacific Rim?
It's like a version is...
Is that a quiz question?
No, but what is rim? I mean, Pacific. 'cause
The
it's
rim
very
is
much
normally
based in the
described
ocean.
as like a crust of Earth, isn't it?
Well, the
I feel
rim.
it's like the
Yeah,
rim
the
is
rim
the
of-
hole in the like a
the rim of the
rim.
hole on the seabed.
well,
It is
yes.
like a bumhole rim.
Oh, Adam. It's like a bumhole ring. What sort of podcast are we?
That's why they called it rimming.
Fucking.
Oh God, it
this
gets worse.
Little kid, man. Jesus. I should bounce you back to Bombay, man.
Yes, but that's
This is a
kind of what it is.
suggestion.
It's like a bumhole in the middle of the sea.
Oh my, we're still going on about the bum hole in the sea.
Yeah.
This is a suggestion by our wonderful patrons for your reference,
Oh, yes.
Katie and Oti. They said, "Oi, stop making fun that we like Pacific Rim, and go watch it."
Yeah.
And we were like, "Okay, we're hesitant, but we're going to do it. We don't know. We haven't seen the film. Adam has, and he has views on it, I'm sure. But we're
Yes.
going to do it. This is what we do for our patrons. We watch whatever they want us to watch and talk about it.
Yeah,
I'm
sometimes-
very excited to get into it today.
And may I just add,
Yes,
as a
please
follow-up
add.
to your question, the Pacific Rim comprises the lands around the rim of the Pacific Ocean. The Pacific Basin includes the Pacific Rim and the islands in the Pacific Ocean. The Pacific Rim roughly overlaps with the geologic Pacific Ring of Fire.
So the rim is the land.
Yes.
Is it all the volcanoes?
Oh,
the
so Adam was
bumhole
wrong.
of the land.
Adam was wrong.
I hate that he talks like that trash.
I'm
You're
not
See,
one
I
of
would
them
have
on
thought
Tuesday.
that the land was the cheeks.
Well, this conversation is mighty appalling.
And Iceland can be the gooch.
Right.
Oh.
Let's just bring up, seeing as we're talking about our patrons, we also have a patron channel, everyone.
Oh,
Well,
shit.
we release exclusive episodes at www.patreon.com/filmbusters. We get exclusive content. People suggest films for us. They get exclusive video content.
It's
And
true.
Mighty fine.
do. Some
Mighty fine
stickers.
stuff. What are we doing today? Yeah, there's stickers and merchandise.
All that good
Yes.
shit.
What are we doing today, guys, at the end of this episode?
Oh, what we're talking about,
Yes.
we're going to try and think of some films that have got plot holes in them. But the plot hole where, not like, oh, that's really obvious, like the character's being stupid, but where you feel the film could have been solved within the first 5 minutes. Or something happens at the beginning that the characters don't use until the end to solve the film.
Exactly. That's exactly it. It's incredibly hard.
Very, very hard topic.
Very
the
hard
hardest
subject.
topic
This is
we've
all.
ever had.
This is
This is
also
gonna
a
be a
suggestion by
mess.
Katie and Oti as well.
Yes. I feel like they must have a list as long as their arm, but for God's sake, we couldn't figure one out.
Either that or the way they've described it to us has made us think of it in this way. Because the only other way you could think of it is characters doing dumb shit where it's so obvious to think of a reason around it and the film could be solved immediately if they just went... Like, I remember looking at them and one of the ones that came up was School of Rock, and it's like you could just ID him as soon as he turns up on site.
Mate,
No,
are
or
you
you're
showing
not.
your cards already?
I'm not sure. That's not one of my... I'm not going to say that.
This is an example, Adam.
Yeah, I'm just saying
See?
like that type of thing where the headmaster would obviously ID him and go, "Where's your ID?" He goes, "I haven't got it." It goes, "Well, you're not allowed to go near children, then are you? You paedophile. Go home."
Woof,
You're
woof,
a
woof, woof,
schneebly.
woof, 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 woof.
Woof.
Woof, 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 woof,
Woof.
woof. Dog whistle.
But yeah, That's what I mean. There's a difference between that and what we're going to be talking about.
Yes,
I feel so. I think so.
I should say so.
But if you want to check out that content that we've got for you on the Patreon at www.patreon.com/filmbusters, you can become a patron, just like the likes of Katie and Oti, who are supplying this episode to you, basically.
Yes, they are. You also have Jamie Russell there. He was on a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, got Jamie Russell there. And you've also got our dear patron Julio from the Contrarians. And Nerd Revert. They're both from the same place.
Where's that place, Ben?
New York.
On the other side of the big sea. On the other side of the Pacific.
I'm waiting for one of them to at least acknowledge that they get a yeehaw every fucking episode. They ain't not acknowledging that yeehaw. I'm going to start playing more offensive sounds.
Maybe it doesn't work. Maybe like when it goes to the other side of the Pacific, it's like copyright and it gets blocked out and they don't hear it.
No, well, look at that. It's very possible. Highly
Very
futuristic
possibly.
world.
Right, wonderful. Yeah, should we move on to the staple of every episode, which is the quiz? If you've not listened to an episode before, we do a quiz every episode related to the film we're talking about. I ask Adam and Ben 2 questions. If they get the questions right, they get points. If they get the questions wrong, I get the points. Today is about Pacific Rim. Ben, you got 27 points. Adam, you got 22 points, and I have 14 points.
Adam, let me tell you, if you don't score the points today, you fucked up, because I really don't know what questions, and I don't know enough about this film to know answers.
I also was about to say the same thing the other way around.
Okay,
well,
there's some information, right, that if you absorbed, let's not go too much about how we feel about this film, but there's not much to learn or to take in this film, right?
Yes.
So there is some information that you could have maybe written down or memorized.
I didn't write down no information.
And these are the questions I've got.
Okay. I'm going to guess an answer now without even hearing the question.
Here we go. Let me say the first question.
Okay.
The US Jaeger is called Gypsy Danger, but what is the Australian Jaeger called? You didn't write it down, did you?
I didn't write it down, but I know it's in my fucking head.
Go on.
You got to give me a second. I'm going to get it if you don't get it, Adam.
The Down Under Jaeger.
Idiots.
Oh my god, Down Under Jaeger. That is some kind of sexual move to a robot.
Oh, fuck. It's not this, but it's the thing that's similar in my head. Like, Rayback.
No.
Is it nothing like that?
It's called Striker Eureka.
Striker. Yes. Because
What kind of fucking question
Idris
is
Elba
this?
was going, Striker,
Man on.
get Striker over here. Well,
Well,
get
if
you and me in, Striker.
That's a point for me.
It is, well done.
If you like that question, then you're going to love the next one.
Oh, God.
The Australian Jaeger is called Striker Eureka. But what is the Chinese Jaeger called?
Oh, fuck me.
God. I watched this film about a week ago and...
About a week ago!
Does it have an English name, Paul?
Yes.
Ah, mate.
Alpha.
Shall I give you a clue?
The annoying thing is I knew it was the US one was Gypsy.
Gypsy Danger.
Oh, well, I forgot the danger bit.
They've all got double barrels. So this is a double barrel as well.
Alpha
And
Charlie.
I'm going to give you 2 words that relate to the first and second word.
Okay. This is a lot more fun.
How can I...
No, you've got to find a way of doing that.
Yeah, let me find a way of doing it without making it even more confusing for you.
This is like catchphrase.
It is kind
Say
of
what
like
you see.
catchphrase. I'm not going to say one word. I'm going to say a couple of words. Here we go. The first one is... a type of red colour.
Oh, it's Crimson Wave?
It's not Crimson Wave.
Shit.
It's not Crimson Wave. Does that mean that Adam gets to choose pick what the next word is?
I guess.
Yeah.
You shouldn't have blown your load, mate.
I knew it was...
I knew I was going to say crimson because that was the red, but what's the second word? Were you going to give me a clue or not?
Well, I think he's allowed the clue since
Okay.
we would have got it if I hadn't shot my load early.
Okay.
Into the rim.
Oh, how have we made this so crass and crude already?
A type of wind.
Oh, I know what it
A
is.
state of wind.
I know what it is.
Crimson Blow.
No.
Idiot.
What is it then?
Is it Crimson Typhoon?
It is Crimson Typhoon.
Fucking hell.
Too late for me. The funny thing is, I did make a note of that because I was like, oh, right, Guillermo del Toro and Crimson Peak.
Oh,
so
yeah.
that was in my head. So I was like, oh, I wonder if he called it that because of Crimson Peak.
Anyway, we cannot do a Katie and OT record without being crass at some point, innit? So
That's true, but that's also
very
2
easy.
points to Paul, though.
Look at that.
I think that's
know.
the first time you've scored 2 points this year.
I
He's
think
going to
so.
overtake me. He's not far off me now, is he?
Oh,
Look at
that's
that.
true, eh?
16. I mean, a little bit off you still.
God, we're bunching up a little bit into this
Look at that,
final
20
stretch of the year.
27 for Ben, 22 for Adam, and 16 for me.
See, Paul, you kind of got all the power because if you decided to go tricky with your questions, you could just keep racking up the points to the end of the year. But I know you don't want to. You say you don't
'cause
like it.
I just want you guys to fight out. Really, that's what I care about. I want you to take the. I want someone to take the reins next year.
Well, never ask us questions about Jaeger's names again.
Yeah.
What else can I say for this
You
film?
could say what was how many what I don't know. What Richter
Okay, here
scale
we go.
did the last dinosaur get
Here
to?
we go. This is a question just for Adam. Let's see how much he was paying attention. What are the big monsters called?
Fuck me. They begin with like a K or something like that.
It did, yeah.
They do.
It's like a Kraxon or something like that.
A Kraxon? That's actually a type of mythical sea beast, I think.
Yeah, that's a kraken mixed with a
That's the Kraken.
klaxon.
That's like a giant octopus.
That's it. A kraken and a klaxon.
They're called a kaiju.
A kaiju.
That's it, Kaiju.
Well, I could have asked Adam anything about this film and he still wouldn't have got it.
No. And the funny thing is, Adam's the only one out of the two of us who had watched it bloody before.
Exactly.
I watched it for 10 minutes before and then I turned it off.
That doesn't tell anything about what you think of this film, though, does it, Adam?
No, it doesn't, because I've rewatched it then, and it's been many years since I've rewatched it, and my state of mind could possibly change.
Yeah, you've matured
Yeah.
over the time, haven't you? Right, so before we spoil anything, should we just go on to the main event?
Yes.
Main event. There is a featured topic. Plus Adam will do a rubbish plot summary. Are you fucking serious?
I missed them, but I'm glad we did away with them all. They were all fun at the time in them early days, weren't they?
Years before, you wouldn't have picked my brother Yancey and I for heroes. No chance.
Alright, let's suit up and kick some ass.
We were never star athletes, never at the head of the class. But we could hold our own in the fight. And it turned out we had a unique skill. We were drift compatible.
Right, everyone, today we're talking about Pacific Rim from 2013 by Guillermo del Toro.
This isn't a sexual act.
Spoiler episode. It is not a sexual act, as Adam says, no, but it is a spoiler episode. We'll go straight into spoilers, no hanging around. So you haven't seen it, we will spoil it for you. So you better go and watch it or just get spoiled. However you want to be played, basically.
However you want it, you don't want it because when you get it, it hurts. Your body
Oh,
lying in
yes.
the church.
What he just said. But first of all, Adam, you got to do a wonderful plot summary, haven't you?
Yes. So this film is set. I'm about to say it was set in the future when it was made, but the future is actually now, isn't it? It was like
It's
2020.
the past, isn't it? It's 2020, yeah.
Yeah. But now this world that they live in didn't get struck by COVID. It got struck by monsters that came out of the sea. And the only way you could possibly defeat these monsters is by building giant robots the size of buildings and office blocks that have to be controlled by two people who blast them into smithereens. But the monsters keep getting bigger and the robots can't keep getting up. So what's going to happen? Find out.
On the next episode.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you teased that
that's
one
as
out.
good as ever, I think.
Pretty good, man. Pretty good.
What you got to say about this, Ben?
So I'm sorry, dear everyone, but I had very little time this week, so I've been able to do zero analysis, but I will just say
So many people have just left the podcast.
I know,
They're not watching anymore.
sorry everyone, deserve better, but I will say it was directed by Guillermo del Toro in 2013, and there is a sequel and a television series.
There's a TV show.
It's animated.
Animated, there you
God.
go. Pacific Black, I think it's called.
Oh God.
Or
That sounds
Pacific
awful.
Into the Black, I think. Something like that.
Should
I should have done that
you
research.
Do it to research. Pacific Black.
It was called Into the Black. Pacific Rim Into the Black.
Look at that. Do you reckon they're going into the hole under the sea?
Under the sea, under
And there's
the
a big
sea.
crab called Sebastian.
Yes. I was waiting for Sebastian to crawl up out of that fucking hole, man. I thought Sebastian was going to be a stage 5 kaiju.
Oh, imagine.
That would be
Imagine.
scary, mate. If they managed to make Sebastian big, like one of them kaijus, and then you can see a big old battle with a robot and big Sebastian kaiju.
Would he have a Jamaican accent?
Not if it's voiced by a white man. No, not in these times. I don't know if a white man or a black man did his voice.
I think Black Man did Sebastian's voice, but let me. Should
But then
we find out?
when everyone sings Under the Sea, we all sing it like Jamaicans.
It's more important than Pacific Rim. Finding out
Yes.
if a black man did Sebastian's voice.
Yeah.
Little Mermaid.
The thing is, whether it was or not, all the white people singing it with that accent. Yeah, it was a black
Under
guy.
the sea.
There we go. Who was it?
Samuel E. Wright.
Here we go.
He passed away a few months ago.
Aww. Well, at least it was authentic.
There we go.
There we go.
He was in one episode of The Cosby Show.
Look at that.
I hope he didn't spend too much time with Bill.
Hope not.
Well, maybe Sebastian switched Bill onto those perversions.
Oh, Jesus.
That would change the Little Mermaid a
He
little
was
bit.
a bit of a
wouldn't it?
creepy crab. He's trying to hook people up.
Fucking hell.
He's very relationship orientated, that crab.
I know. He tries to claw his way to the top.
Oh. Crustacean.
Yes. Any other seafood jokes we got here? Shellfish. That's very shellfish of you.
Yeah, I say that one all the time, but I was trying to avoid that.
I know. You didn't do the most obvious low.
Do you know the thing is, the lobsters only go red when they're being cooked.
I don't. Oh well, maybe that is true. They're black
brown.
underwater.
They're
Black and
brown,
brown.
when they're
They're kind of
alive,
grey.
and they can't. The red means they're like it's their pain receptors.
What is this telling
shit,
everyone
that's
about
horrible.
our thoughts on Pacific Rim that we're spending this much time on Sebastian and lobsters?
Yes.
Well, who knows? We got to find out. Adam, do you want to decide who ordered
Who ordered?
who order?
Who ordered the lobster?
I'm gonna
Who
go.
ordered the lobster?
Okay, let me
Or
do
the
this.
crab?
Let me do it. We're gonna go in a reverse Filmbusters order this time.
Oh shit, son!
We're in the red room.
Yes.
That means it's you, Ben.
I know. All your friends are here.
That was reversed.
So, I thought that was very good. I literally watched this a few hours ago. This is the closest I've ever watched a film and then recorded an episode because I had so little time to watch Pacific Rim. So I watched Pacific Rim at about 6 o'clock this fucking morning, which is a hell of a time to watch a film such as.
Jesus.
And yes, and I had to admit that when it was brought up, I knew nothing about it other than I always wanted to avoid it because it looked like the very definition of what I'm not about. And I heard negative things, and any film, as much as I love Always Sunny in Philadelphia, any film that adds Charlie Day to its cast and then expects me to take it seriously, no, sorry, it ain't going to happen. So I approached it with a lot of reservation, and I know that Adam had attempted to watch it and stopped watching, so I was like, this is going to be absolute guff. I was preparing for like a 2 or a 3 out of 10. I thought that's what we're going to be hitting with this sort of film. So imagine my delight when the first 15 minutes took place, and I was like, this is scintillating, entertaining stuff. This is wonderful. Big robots and big monsters going toe-to-toe in a very bombastic way from the off. I found it incredibly exciting. I was ready
Shaggy.
to yeah. I was so happy. I was like, oh, this is going to be one hell of a film. But then I realised that the rest of the film was just going to be that repeated and repeated and repeated to the point where I'm like, I don't give a fuck. Halfway through the film, I'm like, I don't care about this shit anymore because all you've given me too much of a good thing. Just like anything in life, you need to pepper it in. And I can only compare it to like something like Jaws, if from the very off in Jaws, you'd had shark attacks, and then the shark kept attacking throughout, and all you saw was the shark attacking people and killing people and biting people and then fighting the shark, it would lose all its momentum and everything that I was enjoying about it. So, interesting concept. I don't actually know if it's an original idea. It feels like it was maybe based on something. I don't know. But it was an interesting concept, and I liked the whole big monsters, big robots doing battle thing. It did what it said on the tin. I wish I'd seen it on a large cinema screen, because I feel like that is probably the way to experience that film. Watching it at home took a little something off it. It just got too boring and repetitive an hour in, and I didn't care too much for the characters. But I had a good time watching all the battles, even though there was shitloads of CGI. But I think if you're going to use CGI, go whole hog and make this big, messy cocktail of action, blockbuster nonsense. And so I give it a 6 out of 10.
Ooh. That's very interesting.
There you go. So, Paul?
It's nice, actually.
Oh, it's Adam. Yeah. Come on.
I still stay in the middle. You just pivot around me. So yeah, I watched this film probably about 6 or 7 years ago, and I watched probably about 20 minutes, half hour of it, and then I was like, "Why am I watching this film? This film is awful."
You've gone up from 10 minutes.
Well, it was a figure of speech more than an
see.
actual.
The funny thing is, that's the best bit of the film, and you turned it off after the best bit, in my opinion.
It was just like, I was like, why the hell am I watching this? And all of that kind of shit. And it was still kind of the same this time around. But I stuck with it, obviously, because we were doing the podcast on it. Yeah, again, it was kind of, like you said, it was okay for the first 20 minutes. You see the battle. But the problem is all the acting in this film is terrible. All the dialogue in this film is just terrible. The way every character speaks is just annoyingly awful. And the CGI battle is interesting once, but after that it is just CGI. And the most annoying thing about the battles is it is just a CGI fight, and then the only acting that takes place is the two of them standing inside a robot and they're punching the air, and it's just like watching somebody with a fucking VR headset on having a fight in a room. It's like, what? There's nothing to that. It's just two guys punching the air in a room, and then you look out and there's a big robot moving. Yes, it's dumb. Yes, it's stupid. Yes, you shouldn't take this film seriously. But I still feel like there should be some level of enjoyment from the rest of the film, rather than just, this is going to be big fun and dumb. It's like fucking the Godzilla versus King Kong film. Yes, that's dumb, and that's what this kind of film is in that bracket. But there's still, outside of that, there's still a film that you can watch and get along with, and also they do it in a better way where you're kind of waiting for most of the film for it to happen and it develops. But this is just, it was still not a good film. I'm going to give it I've gone from a 1 star to a 2 star.
Wow, you stuck with it low. I thought you were going to say, now that I've watched it all in its entirety, it's okay, I'll give it a 4
I still
or 5.
think maybe if I
went up by
rewatched
1.
it from the beginning this time, I might have given it like a 4, but I still got an overall hatred for it.
What do you mean
before.
if you watch it from the beginning?
Like, I'm sorry, if I watched it from the first time now, I might have given it a higher rating, but I still kind of got the view
Just because
that
you
I
went in
hated it
with
from the beginning.
bad intentions.
Yeah, and I hated it from the last time. It annoyed me. So, and also I had to pay to watch it. I didn't want to give any money to this film.
I know, but there we are.
Unfortunate. Is it my turn?
It is your turn.
Okay. This film is bland as fuck. it has no personality whatsoever. The big like payoff of this film is a big piece of metal rolling around with like a generic, indistinguishable alien. And that is like not in the slightest interesting to me. And like, why would you expect me to enjoy any build up to that if I don't want to see it anyway? And every plot point in this film has been recycled from hundreds of films that have done it better. And even its like main like linchpin and original idea of controlling a robot with a neural handshake that works by like a person being compatible with their pilot partner, it trashed it completely in its like final act with Idris saying, "I carry nothing into the drift." It's like, so what? So you're saying you have no thoughts or memories whatsoever? Because that was the whole point of the whole thing. You're going to each other's thoughts and memories, and you just gotta focus, and you gotta like merge together and be one. It's like you just fucked basically your whole idea up by that one
Just to
scene.
say a cool line.
Yeah. It's like, I call bullshit on that. That's shit. And it's it also has like a forced love interest that has like the moral values of a film from the 40s, where you have to like defend the lady, you have to defend her honour, as she of course can't defend herself. I'm talking about the scene where he's like, say sorry to her. Say sorry to her while he's trying to beat her up. It's like, this is bullshit, mate.
Yeah. And
I'm going to say it's not as bad as American Psycho 2,
Oh my goodness.
but it's very bland. I'm just taking some reference from something we've done that's very bad, but it's not as bad as that. But it's very bland and a boring 4 out of 10.
Oh, you went higher than I thought you were going to do. I thought you were going to come down to me.
They're very low scores from you two. I was not expecting to be the one who give this the highest score.
It's just an irritating film. It's like, you've done your robot, but do something better. Like, every single bit of acting in the film and every bit of dialogue in the film is atrocious. And the worst characters is Charlie Day and his sidekick's characters. I hate everything to do with them. And the way they speak and they do that. There was one bit when, do you know where they've got the dead monster and he's got the little computer next to it, and I just remembered looking at him doing it, and it's almost like this should now be a comedy. Like, if this was a shitty B movie, that scene would have been funny and hilarious, but he's like typing so quickly. He types for about a second and about an A4 page goes up on the computer, and he's not even looking at the thing the whole time. He's looking at Charlie Day saying, you should listen to me from the beginning if we have done it this way. And then this whole thing has been done. If we have done the cyber optic... Do you know when they just say generic science terms to make them sound...
Yes.
I mean, that guy was highly annoying because they really amped up his Britishness.
Yes.
And it's like, come on, this is 2020. This isn't set in the 19th century. Why are you talking like that?
Yes.
Also,
So
in a
obvious.
post-apocalyptic world, he would be dead immediately. Someone would have just... If the purge was happening, someone would have snapped his neck immediately.
I don't know why Guillermo del Toro cast Charlie Day in this, but then obviously because of that, Charlie was like to Mac and Dennis, oh yeah, we should get Guillermo del Toro into Always Sunny. He's a really big fan. So then Guillermo del Toro comes into Always Sunny in as the role as Uncle McBoyle, and also that guy, the posh British guy, is the scientist in that Always Sunny episode where they try and trick Charlie into believing he's super
it works
smart.
in that because it's a comedy, and then you think, that's funny because he plays exactly the same character in a comedy series as he does in this
serious film. Yes, yeah. Maybe they were taking the piss.
That's bullshit then. Just think that it's just like friendly, just, oh, I'm hiring you for my film just because we're friends and I like you.
Well, you know
It's
what
like
was interesting
bullshit.
though about this cast, apart from Ron Perlman and Charlie Day, so okay, two main characters in it. The rest were like all British.
Yeah.
Like Idris and
Yeah,
Charlie.
that's true. I was thinking
and that
this must have been filmed in England.
I think I looked and it said that it was filmed in Pinewood, but Pinewood somewhere else. Where's another Pinewood? Not in the UK.
There's Pinewood's all over the world.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Pinewood's the group now. It's like...
It was so oversaturated with British people that I thought it must be done in this country.
The other British person that really fucking surprised me was the Australian son. I was like, where do I know this man from? And then
Yes,
I
where
Googled
do I?
it, and he was in EastEnders for years and years and years.
Really?
Yes, and this is only like his first movie acting role. He was like Sean Slater. That's right.
He was a fucking shit character as well.
Every single character in this film was shit.
Well, I wouldn't go so hard. I wouldn't.
Ron Perlman's character was the only one that had any intrigue. And that's because, again, he's a generic bad villain guy who's got the whole look because it's supposed to be an apocalyptic world. And he's now like king of the underworld.
Yeah, it's just all the most basic writing ever. It's like Charlie Hunnam comes in, here's this Australian guy who doesn't like him, he's a bit jealous of him, and he's just going to be horrible to him like a bully in high school. And it's like, that's just boring. It's just like, that's not even smart writing. It's the most generic writing
you knew was
ever.
going to happened, and you saw it happen about 15 minutes ago.
And it's like, oh, so now we got to give you a nice payoff and send off. Where did you earn that?
I'm
at the
down
end?
for watching like movies where you can kind of switch off and be dumb watching the movie. Like, you take no brain power to watch that movie because like that's what you need. But like when it actually starts attacking your IQ,
I don't. I think you two are being so harsh. I can't believe I'm
I
into
think
the
you were
breach to
just
defend
watching
this
it in
thing.
such a sleepy slate that you probably
No.
liked it because you were 6 a.m. and you weren't wake up properly.
No,
and then you thought you were like,
It's not that. Maybe there's something to it that I don't really watch these films, and maybe you two watch these films more often than me, so that's why you were bored by it. But I choose to actively avoid these sorts of films. So I guess if I then end up seeing one, I'll go, okay, there's some redeeming stuff to it. The thing that I'm thinking about, right, is put this in the context of all the other big monster movies like Kong and Godzilla and shit like that. Even Meg, I dare say. This was largely, for me, better than all of those. Certainly Meg. You two rate Meg higher than this.
I definitely rate Meg higher than this.
That is wrong. You want to talk to me about bad acting and bad characters.
But they had fun with it.
No, they didn't. Well, if they may have had fun, but I didn't watching it.
but you gave it like, it's still like a 4 out of 10. It's not like you've fucking given it 8 or 7 out of 10.
What are you talking about?
My rating of the Meg is like a 4 or a
Pacific
5.
Rim, I gave a 6, mate, not a 4.
Yeah, I'm saying, but you're saying, oh, you like the Meg and stuff. This is better. And I was like, but it's
Yes, you are rating the Meg higher than this. You are rating
Oh, you had the Meg
Godzilla
at
better
3.
than this. Yes,
Okay,
and
and I
it's
gave
higher
this a
than this
2.
rating.
Yeah, but the Meg is still fun. But that's like saying, what restaurant do you reckon's better? Frankie and Benny's or fucking Garfunkel's? They're both shit, but one of them's slightly less shit than the other.
It's agreed. And the fact of the matter is,
Paul gave the Meg a 6,
with-
by the way.
I've downgraded it since.
Well, I've just looked at your letterbox. It's a 6.
It shouldn't be because I'm downgrading it.
Ah, because now you're backtracking.
No, because I've changed my rating system since then.
It's still a 6. I see that.
So when it's a film like this, right, it's a ridiculous idea, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Don't spend so much time sitting in meeting rooms and trying and not getting to the actual action.
Oh,
I
my
want to see
goodness.
the action.
Are you
I don't want to
joking?
see you fucking sitting in a meeting room.
No,
planning
they went
how you're
straight
gonna do
in
it.
with the action.
There
And
was
training.
all action in this, mate.
No, it was not.
That's what I ended up not liking about it.
It wasn't.
It was action constantly.
And it wasn't fun. It was boring, the same old shit. Any
Yes,
action
yes,
there
I
was
agree.
the same old shit.
I agree, because we
Have
saw
fun
too
with
much
it.
action, mate.
Have fun with it. Don't sit in a meeting room planning, and don't sit in a don't give us this bullshit of, oh, this guy doesn't like me because I'm the new guy in town. Oh, this forced love story. Oh, don't say apologise to this woman. It's like, this is boring. I don't care about any of this.
It's interesting, but you could view it that way. As much as I thought her character was completely 2D and like poorly fleshed out, she was. At least the character was a woman who was fighting side by side with the man, the lead.
Yeah, but she was fighting for him, not for herself.
No, she was fighting alongside Charlie Hunnam in that suit because of what happened to her family.
The most weakest setup. Yes, it's good. Yes, she's a woman fighting next to the man. But did she have a fleshed out character that deserved to be in that position?
You boys.
Was she just peeking through a spy hole at his getting changed through her door? It's like, that's bullshit. It's horrible. It's horrible writing.
You boys have liked films where the female characters are far more caricature and pathetic than this one.
Yeah,
So-
but but the problem is, Ben, that I'm not saying that's a good point for the film. I was like, every character in this film was shit. At least in those films, yes, that might not be the best thing ever, but there's a film around it that's still enjoyable.
They created something. There was no heart that worked for me. I didn't find there was any heart. I didn't actually care about the characters enough to care about their fate. Nevertheless, I wanted to see battles between massive robots and massive monsters, and that's what I got to an extent, so you can't blame it. Considering I didn't know what was going to happen in this film, to set it up with that immediately, I'm like, okay, this is the kind of film we're getting, awesome. And then we had that for a long time, and I enjoyed what I had.
If they had repeated the first fight scene basically again and changed the colours in the background, it would have taken you a while to work out that, like, they're all the same. Everything that happened was the same. There's a punch. Oh no, one's down, one's going to lose. Oh no, they're going to go rip off his arm. Oh, whatever. He's got an ice gun. Oh, what that? It's just the same shit. That's what I'm saying. Because the fighting was just a computer CGI and you got the two guys in front of it on the VR shit, it didn't work at all. The action sequences in fucking Power Rangers were better than this. Because they had at least had some fucking choreography that the people had to kind of learn and work out. Like, it was literally like you might as well just turn on YouTube and watch a guy in a VR set boxing.
Yes, but there would be no story, so why would I? There was a
There would
story,
be as
and I
much of
was
a story
following.
in that than there would be in that. The guy would show probably more passion and more heart in that video than he would in this.
I think there was quite an immersive world there. I'm not saying this was a good film, but I
It's an immersive
enjoyed
world, but
watching
it's an immersive
it.
world you don't give a shit about.
It's our world. Listen, there were stakes because when they were like, we've only got the stage 4s coming through. The stage 5s haven't even come through. I was like, oh shit, what a stage 5's going to be like.
Don't be ridiculous.
What
Oh
was?
shit, what a stage 5. It's the same fucking monster.
It was
Ben, please,
bigger.
you've got this video on. Like, did you rent it or something?
Yes.
Just watch it like tonight.
I'm not going to watch it again. I'll never watch it again in my life.
I want you to watch it in a state where you would normally watch a film, not at 6 in the morning.
But mate,
There was no threat from these monsters. I at no point was like, oh shit, here's the stage 5 one. He looks like a really bad boss.
They all look the same. They're just a bit bigger.
They all look the same.
And they have more
what you
legs.
are saying is exactly how I feel. We always come back to this. Is exactly what I feel about Marvel films. Every villain's the fucking same to me.
I said the exact same thing to Scott today. I said, in a way, I kind of feel like this might be how people feel about superhero films, because if you don't care about what is happening and what's fighting, then why are you going to care about the film? And this is how I feel about these robot and aliens fighting.
Then perhaps you can see and understand. Then that's the point of view, because generally speaking, because this. You don't see this often, like literally monsters and robots. I'm talking literally. I'm not talking about big monster movies. You don't see it often. So when I was seeing it, I was like, great. But then if there were like 10 versions of this fucking film, I'd be like, stop this shit. And that's what
They
the
made 2 of them,
superhero films
that's
have
well-
become to me. The superhero films are the same. Every fucking villain is the same.
Yeah, but
And
at least they kind
they-
of
they've
put
got-
some decent characters in it.
Yeah, and there's no personality with these.
They might not be the best. I mean, they're not going to be great characters. They're going to
Listen,
be, again, very generic.
Define
very...
good personality, because you boys seem to think that Jason Statham's a good personality, and that's
I'm
what
not
made
saying
Meg
he's
good.
a good... Ben,
No,
I gave
we're
this
not saying he's got a good
this film,
personality.
I gave the Meg like half a star more than this, okay? They're just shit. They're both shit. But at least I still think the Meg is fun.
The Meg
It's fine.
almost knows that it's a dumb action film, and it knows it's being silly. Where this is just like, I'm being serious right now. We're big aliens fighting some robots. It's
Yeah,
like-
and it worked, because otherwise it would be Power
It's
Rangers.
just kind of on the... It kind of feels like it's on the level of like Transformers.
no,
Where it
because
doesn't know what... Transformers still thinks
Listen.
it's serious.
if Katie Noty had said watch Transformers, I would have politely declined, because Michael Bay, I would have, because Michael Bay is a lecherous fucking man, and I know that it's all about lingering, it's all about masculinity and have a look at her ass, have a look at that. That's bullshit. There was none of that here. It's, you've got to say, I would like to know, actually, I haven't even checked, do you rate Transformers higher than this?
I hope not, and if I do,
I bet
need
you
to
do.
change
I
that.
bet you do, though. You
I
hope
do.
not. Yeah, so that is
The
problematic
first
for both
Transformers
of you
isn't
right there.
terrible, I remember.
I know the film's problematic, but it's a lot more fun than this film.
Yeah, but
The first one I
so
give a 5.
Of course, you two would say so, because your idea of fun, with things like Meg being fun, is so far removed from what my idea of fun is.
Obviously.
I was deeply annoyed by the things that you're finding fun.
So the good thing about this film is there is
Nothing.
no problematic things in it. They don't linger on women. In fact, they don't even try to establish any good female characters at all. They just
But I just told you
They
that they
basically
have.
just
I just
there-
told you that they have a good
they're basically
female.
just there
I
for
just
the
told
main
you that they have a
character.
good female character
No,
established in a
they-
progressive way.
they don't.
There's a female
They don't
character
really.
fighting side by side with
It's
a
more
man
put
in
there
a
just
suit.
to be like, look, there's a female in our film. We're not trying to evolve the character. It's just, let's be here so that I can be basically the co-pilot for Charlie Hunnam, and I can fall in love with her by the end, and also that I can be the heart for Idris Elba.
What?
He's just
I
there
didn't-
just to
I-
basically bring.
They didn't
bring his
end it
heart
with
out
no
at the
love
end.
story for the two of them.
Okay, so you don't think what he was saying at the end was a love story? Let me get out what he said. He said, "All my time living in the past, I never thought about the future until now." While he was looking at her,
Yeah, exactly. But it didn't go into some big
and then he
kiss
said,
at the
"I
end.
never had good timing." It's like, this is what are you talking about? Is this fucking James Bond at the end where he's gonna suddenly start? When do you know where the planes were coming saying, "Hello, can you hear us over the comms?" I was like, "Don't tell me they're just gonna start fucking on the ship now."
They weren't,
Because that's
though,
what it
and
looked
there was
like
no
it was gonna
kiss.
go on
They didn't
to.
even kiss. They
The way she
actually
ran
hugged.
over, to his little
They
pod
should have
in the
been
sea.
dead by then. They had no balls to kill him. They should have died.
Oh yes, I know, absolutely, Paul. All of this stuff you're saying to me are things that I've thought a million times over the last 15 years with the superhero genre.
Good.
And that is why you can tolerate one film. The reality is someone could have died. At the end there, maybe I was wrong, but when Charlie Hunnam was lying there, I thought, oh, maybe they've killed him off. They didn't. But I believed in the moment that they might have, because I knew it wasn't part of a franchise, and I thought, oh, maybe he has died and that was his final sacrifice. He hadn't? Okay. If it had been a superhero film, I would have fucking known that he wasn't dead, even before, at the point where they're like, there's only one pulse, there's only one pod that's popped up. If that was a superhero movie, I'd be like, all right, when's the second one popping up then?
The fact of the matter is, you don't even care about the character by the time it gets to that point. So why do you even care if he's dead or not?
Mate, I've cared about characters far less than I cared about these. I didn't particularly care about them, but I didn't hate them or dislike them. I wasn't annoyed by any character in this apart from the British guy who worked alongside Charlie Day, and Charlie was just badly cast. Everyone else was fine.
I didn't hate anyone either. I just didn't care about anyone.
Yeah, but who did you care about in the Meg then?
I didn't care about anyone either.
So why did you enjoy Meg more?
But the film around it was more fun than just watching this, because there was nothing going on. It was just us watching generic things.
Okay,
fighting.
the Meg is a giant shock. The Meg is a giant shock. This was giant robots versus giant monsters. That's on the same level.
Seeing a little dog paddling away in the sea from a massive shark is more fun than seeing a big robot fight.
It's so funny and so obvious. They put that in the trailer constantly.
I know.
On repeat. That's not funny.
They probably had everything of this film in the trailer as well. You just haven't seen the trailer.
You've got to keep on the fact that is why the Meg's a bad rating as well. It's not the fact that I give it a 10 out of 10 film.
I'm give the Meg what I give this. That's why I'm comparing it to
I give it a 5. I give the Meg a 5.
No, well, you've changed your mind live and direct on here.
I have, because that's what I'm going to check. I've highlighted it on our end of year for me to change it whenever I get an opportunity.
Okay, then Godzilla, another one. The 2014 Godzilla, good comparison. That, for me, this was better than that, because that 2014 Godzilla spent so much time, as you're saying, Paul, get to the action. This is what got to the action. That old Godzilla film, they spend so much time with characters that I don't care about, and they try to develop stories that are paper thin and pathetic and just completely unoriginal, to the point of desperation for me to say, give me something inspired for fucking once. They just try out the same old storyline, and then everyone creamed their knickers over fucking that Godzilla.
I agree, it's not a good film.
But you rate that more than this. Why?
Yeah. Because I like the characters surrounding it.
There you go. And you like them characters. They are nothing to me. You like the characters in Meg and the humour. It meant nothing to me. These people meant nothing to me.
That's how things work.
But I enjoyed this because it was monsters versus... I'm trying to understand why you boys come to a film that is robots versus monsters, and you're going, the characters weren't interesting enough.
No, they're not. I'm saying they're not interesting enough. They were annoyingly bad. They were terribly bad. It wasn't like the fact that they didn't care for them. It's just they were irritating.
Well, I didn't see Charlie Hunnam or Idris Elba being irritating. What was irritating about them?
They were just irritating.
What was irritating about them, though? I really don't understand.
I can't put you just everything.
There was nothing about them to irritate. They were just leads in an action film.
Irritating.
But then why aren't you irritated by fucking Captain America?
Because I feel like at least there's something going on there.
Because every 13-year-old is talking about them constantly
from their small beginnings and get into turning into this amazing character by the end, and they have amazing characters surrounding them. They have great choreography, and this is nothing.
I couldn't disagree more with everything you just fucking said. That's the beauty of this. I'm not wrong and you're not wrong, but we hold completely opposite opinions and are reading this shit in totally different ways. I'm so glad, because I thought this was going to be generally a pretty much like, it was just a crap film thing, but I'm glad that we can contextualize it with other big action films and try and work out why the fuck you guys think this one is so bad in comparison. Because I'm struggling to think of a big, dumb action film that you two rate lower than this. Because essentially you're saying this is worse than all the Godzillas, the Kongs, the Megs, all of the superhero movies. Is there a Marvel movie you rate lower than the ratings you've given today? You think Marvel?
They're quite well-made films in comparison.
A cartoon is a well-made 10-minute short. A slice of bread can be baked in an oven in 20 minutes, and it's a well-made slice of bread.
The closest thing that gets to it is the Godzilla King of Monsters series, as soon as you're bringing up Godzilla. But even then, they have these very diverse monsters that you can actually distinguish between, and it makes them interesting. They all have different abilities, different powers. Yes, they're all fighting each other, just like these are, but they're different, and I can actually root for different monsters. Where here, I'm just like, it's just a robot fighting the same monster.
You're rooting for the massive robots that are there to defend the human race. I thought that was cool as. That's what I'm saying. Those opening 15 minutes, when you realise human beings are controlling these huge fucking machines in order to defend us from this wave of monstrous attacks, okay, I'm built into that.
It's the bit I get it.
Yeah,
It's
that's
like,
fine.
They said in the film as well, it's like, we built these robots, but they were so big that one person had to control one side, one person had to control the other. Therefore, they had to be compatible. And it was just like, you're making this trying to sound dramatic when it's just not, and it's just shit.
I can say that I think it's quite a cool idea, but they fucked it. They made out like you need to be compatible, but then you didn't need to be, because Idris Elba just goes in with the fucking annoying bully.
And also, like, you give it compatible, but then you don't make us give a shit about any of the reasons why they need to be compatible.
I don't understand what... Like, they were compatible. They had to work alongside each other, and they had to train and make sure they were.
Are you saying Idris Elba and the annoying bully were compatible?
That was Desperate Measures, mate.
But they said, oh, okay, so this is what they said in the control room, right? Oh, their compatibility is up to 100%. It's like, so they're just as compatible as anyone else.
Well, I would say, in that situation, because they are doing the ultimate mission at that point, at the very end, the harmonisation of their brains, because they know they had to give it their all, because otherwise it was the end. I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt. I am, honestly. I didn't even stop at that point and say, actually, that don't make sense.
Nah, it's bullshit, mate.
Gentlemen,
they ruined it. They ruined their whole idea.
The fact that you two are complaints about characters and that, you know.
Do you know what the most annoying part of this film, this whole film was? And it just irritated me, and it just sums up this whole film in one, is when they're having a fight, and I think it's one of the monsters or one of the robots punches an arm through a building, and as it goes through the building, they do a slow-mo of it. Do you know those little pebble, you have in, like, doctors, whatever they have it, like, there's
the marbles on a swing, yeah.
Yeah, and then they start swinging, because he pushes it. That's not how they work. You have to pull it away from the marbles and then hit. You don't push them forward, because if you push it forward, they all swing in harmony. You have to pull one away, and then the energy gets transferred through them, and then that's why it's like what they've done there is that scene there summed up the whole film for me. Whereas there's no actual thought gone into what it is. They just thought that would look cool. Look at that. And it's like, no, that's not cool. That doesn't make any sense. You're just stupid.
They should have punched one of those ducks that like dips down and drinks the water. That would have worked.
Something like that. Something that you push, and then something happens. Not an actual thing where you doing that action doesn't do anything to that toy. If you push it, all 6 of those balls are swinging in the same motion. You haven't pulled it away to transfer the energy.
If these things that happen for 3 seconds on screen are what's winding you up, then yeah, the film hasn't worked.
It was kind of like, it annoyed me, and it was like that kind of also sums up the whole film at the same time. That should have been my review of the film.
Listen, I thought, considering what's out there, right, in context of the sort of genre it is, which isn't my genre, I went into it with an open mind. This isn't my thing. I thought it did what it needed to do quite well. I was entertained by the big robots smashing up.
But you were only entertained for 20 minutes or half an hour.
I was entertained in and out throughout, and it got very repetitive very, very quickly. But if they had done what seems to be strangely Paul's perception, it's focused a lot of time in meetings. I didn't think they spend that much time in meetings. If they had done more of that in this film, I would have rated it lower, because then I'd been like, the action is not enough. If you're going to throw all this shit,
they did not like the first battle they had that killed 2 of the robots off, right? Mm. The Russian and the Chinese robot. Mm. So where was the other action?
They were just little ones throughout.
Yeah, it was just a constant flow throughout.
Was there, though? Are you sure?
Yeah.
I don't think there was.
There was. When they came out onto the streets, there was multiple fights out up on the street, and then when that one died, and then they checked it out and it was pregnant, all of that stuff counts as action, you know.
That was an okay scene.
Oh, yeah, see, you kind of like that scene because you're calling it okay.
That was okay.
I
actually didn't mind Ron Perlman's character because he had a bit of life in him.
Yes, he did. First time he's played a human being in a Del Toro film, apparently.
Oh, there you go. Yeah,
Had to bring him in. Hellboy.
knew he was getting eaten. Silly boy looking for his shoe.
I know. But listen, I'm telling you, the thing that's going on here, I'm very sad to see it. You're getting caught up with everything that glimmers like a fucking magpie, the two of you. Just because...
Films glimmer for a reason.
No. Yeah, do you want to know why?
Because they've been made well.
No,
and
mate.
they have some
You and I
stakes,
both know that
and
the
they have
best
some
made
entertainment.
films don't glimmer, because they only glimmer when studios have shitloads of money to put behind advertising campaigns and toys and posters and press junkets to really drum up the glimmer.
Yeah, and this film had all of that, and it was still shit.
I'm pretty sure it didn't in comparison to the Marvel machine.
There's a difference between a piece of coal and a rock. This was a dull rock, where a piece of coal can be compressed and it's made into a gem.
This was a diamond in the rough.
Don't you you know it's not a fucking diamond in the rough, mate.
Mate, I'm saying that it's rough all around, so it's a diamond within that rough. I'm not saying... Listen, I will never watch this film again or
It's a
probably
fucking
think of it
bauxonite,
again.
mate.
If I had seen this in the cinema...
Do you know what the
I
budget of
dare
this
say
film
I'd give
was,
it 7.
Ben?
What?
Guess how much you think the budget of this film was.
Mate, I'm so out of touch with what it means, what budgets mean anyway. Every movie costs a ridiculously insane amount of money that makes no sense to me.
Okay, so this film was made in 2013, and it cost £190 million to make.
Well, all them computers got to power themselves.
Did it make its money back, Adam?
Yeah, it
Must
did.
have if they have a sequel. Anyway, I appreciated this unique little snapshot action film where for a couple of hours I saw massive monsters versus massive robots, and I gave it a 6 out of 10, which is a fitting score for that 2-hour experience.
But it's not unique though, is it? Because it's just pastiche in like Chinese and Japanese films.
Yeah, well, it's not so much pastiching as it is like, you know, honouring them.
We could have done better at honouring them.
Well, so could the more recent Godzilla films, because I think they're all shit.
That's
because
fair.
they're all so Americanized. At
I'm
least
not backing them up. It's fine.
Ben, the latest Spider-Man film that came out, Spider-Man Far From Home, had a budget of 160 million. So
Why
this
do I care
film-
about that? What are you telling
But
me
you're
that
saying
for?
it didn't have the exposure and all of that. This film did have all of that shit, and it was still
mate,
shit.
the money that goes into it isn't necessarily the money that goes into promoting it. And my point was, all of the Marvel fucking films are prepackaged with toys and TV campaigns and cartoons, and you must go and see this, you must go and see this, you must go and see this. Because if everyone's telling you it's good, then you go, oh, well, it's good, rather than use your own fucking brain.
Yeah, I get that. This film.
Well, you don't get it because you think all of them
in
are
that
better.
vein. This film still had all of that adverts, trailers. It might not have had the toys and shit that all went with it, but it still had a lot of that.
And it's got Guillermo at the helm, so one of the biggest directors going.
Yeah, it did.
So it doesn't have much that it can say from what's been produced.
Yes.
It's a big, dumb monster movie, but it's a million times better than most of the pap that I see that's similar.
We can all agree it's a big dumb monster movie.
Yeah, of course, it doesn't think that it is anything else, but, you know, it
I
did
feel
what
like
it
it
needed
does
to
think
do.
it's better than them, though.
But yeah, but it is better than them, that's why. I can't think of a big, dumb monster movie that's better than this. They're not my genre anyway, because they're normally done so badly, but at least this one threw it all
We're
at
have to
me.
move on because we're just having the same argument again and again.
People love to hear it, Adam. It's been a long time.
I know.
We've been agreeing with each other for too fucking long and been civil for too fucking long. I want your blood.
Give me your blood.
Give me blood, give me blood, give me blood.
The question I have for you two, and it relates to what Katie and Oti gave us as a Patreon topic. Their Patreon topic for us was films with a plot hole or films where it could have been resolved ahead of time. What exactly are they referring to in this film that could
I
have
don't
happened
think it is
ahead
to
of
do
time?
with this film, to be honest, because I did think that, and I was like, no, this film, there's not really much in it. The reason the film
But
develops...
Katie says there's plot holes all over this, and we'll know once we've seen it. But I can't really see them. I mean, yes, in as much as it
Yeah,
wouldn't
in
happen
the
real life.
case of something that they could have done earlier to basically end the film early.
But like the plot holes, like you said about the whole everyone's got to be compatible shit, then yes, but not an actual.
But just being compatible didn't mean that they could end the film early. The only way they could end the film was to do the research, which Charlie Day did, and find out that you have to use another kaiju to go through the portal to blow it up.
Yeah.
But I don't think they would have got to that point unless they did the research, and they can't. It's not like that's just like saying do the research earlier, but that's not the film.
No.
Did you have a take on it, or was that what you were thinking?
I thought it was. I mean, I couldn't see it, but I thought that they were saying that idea of dropping that bomb down that tunnel between worlds could have just been done earlier. Like, why have they waited to this point?
Maybe they just forgot about the fact that you needed to go through with a kaiju.
Yes.
Because that was the thing they had to learn, because they were just going to drop the bomb in.
Now drop the bomb.
Yeah, and that's why they were saying it's just going to bounce off like it had all the other times.
Yes.
Yeah.
I thought Charlie Day was going to end up being like a kaiju, because when he did the neural handshake, I thought one was going to start he was going to start turning into one or something like that.
His eye was going so red.
They could have used that a little bit better to sort of get the kaijus working out how the human mind works, so that they were very much well prepared for the human attack. Listen,
what did you think of this whole the aliens inside sending them to basically terraform the world?
Yeah, I liked it. Different waves, because that's how war works, isn't it? Different waves move in to do different things.
Fine.
Yeah, it's fine. Exactly. I know, mate. I would never have watched this film otherwise. But considering that Adam said he turned it off after 10 minutes, literally when I watched those first 10 minutes, I'm like, what did Adam want then? What more did you want from that first 10 minutes?
I think I turned it off. I remember it now when I was watching it as well. It's when Charlie Day and his little scientist friend are in that room together, and they start talking for the first time. And they try and do all their shit, and I was just like, "No, this film's awful."
You won't do this to my Charlie.
You mean his brother?
Whatever. I mean, they were scientist buddies in the film, right? The fact that they were brothers is pretty much irrelevant.
Were they actually brothers?
Yeah, they were brothers, right?
Were they?
Yeah,
I mean, I don't remember that happening, but when they started acting like that, I was like, "Nah, I've lost this. This film's gone off now."
Well,
I'll say that bringing the aliens into the end of it actually brought something original, an original idea. Because if you're looking at this from the outside, the only original idea they had was the neural handshake to control the robots, and you had to both be in sync. That was the original idea. An original idea is not robots fighting big monsters. That's been done for years and years. So I appreciated that, but then they ruined it in the end. But then the idea that these aliens from a different world were sending through the kaijus was okay. So at least they had a little bit of originality there.
Yeah, but also when I'm saying originality, name me a film where you have big robots versus big monsters throughout. That is original. I know that it exists, particularly in Japanese manga and anime.
Transformers is kind of that to an extent. I think they go to the ones.
I've watched Power Rangers all my life, so that's just Power Rangers.
Yeah, I know, but
it's not original.
Exactly. And as we've established, you like stupid things, and Power Rangers is a stupid thing.
But at least it's having fun. It knows it's stupid.
But that's fine, yeah. If you want to go to the circus, see the clowns, of course, go to the circus.
I don't watch it anymore, do I? I watched it when I was a kid.
You watched it a month ago for this fucking podcast. And you rated it higher than this.
Nostalgia, boy.
If you had not watched Power Rangers and never knew about Power Rangers, and then you watched it back to back with this, would you prefer that to this?
What, Power Rangers film?
Yes.
Probably not.
Fuck off.
No, I'm saying I probably would not prefer Power Rangers. I
know, don't lie to me. You'd love
it. Because I have so much nostalgia for the Power Rangers film.
Get rid of it.
And it's the fact that it transports me back to a memory when I was younger watching it and buying the film in Woolworths. Pacific Rim has none of that. I never bought it in Woolworths.
Well, I know. Well, any film that's made in the 21st century has always got that hindrance then. It ain't got the nostalgia factor.
Exactly. But then you've got to bring the cojones, don't you?
Listen, this was perfectly fine. Put it this way. This film was worked. It was a single-serving film that did its job for the 2-hour session it needed to do it. Nothing more, nothing less. I won't be watching the sequel. I'm sure that the sequel is appalling. and just repeats everything that's in this. But I won't be watching it because it was a single serving film. Did its thing, and that's that.
Very well.
Do you know what's also weird, I think, about the sequel is the fact that it's like Charlie Hummer's not in it.
No, it's an all new cast, isn't it?
Yeah, which I find is almost like, what do they do? Like,
Charlie's in it.
There's Charlie in it. I don't even know. I haven't looked. I just seen that. What's his name?
John Boyega.
Yeah, John Boyega's in it.
Well,
That's it. That's all I know.
more British casting.
Exactly.
For some reason, they like the Brits in it.
Attack the Block.
That's his worst film, and I really hate that film.
And they're making another one.
Pacific Rim 2 could have been worse.
When you've got a film that's about robots versus monsters, and you get what it says on the tin, I don't really know how you can complain.
If it's a bad film.
But all you're saying is the characters.
Well, that's what makes it into a bad film.
Mate, you cannot tell me this shit and vote Meg higher. I'm sorry. Meg has some of the worst characters ever. I hope they all die in
It totally
real life.
does. I agree.
I want them all to dead in real life, though.
That's fine.
To dead in real
They
life.
could die. They could die because I'm not going to back that film up either.
You backing it up all over Letterboxd, baby, because your 5 goes and contributes to a slightly higher elevated score than it might get with a 1. It's just like voting. Like, everyone goes, oh, my vote don't make no difference. Yes, but everyone's collective does.
Okay, are we finished here, boys?
We are, yeah.
Okay, well, shall we go on to some letterbox reviews? We have some distinctly different letterbox reviews here. We got a 9, a 7, and a 4. Let's go through them, see what people got to say. First of all, we have Hey Lucy May, and she gave it a 9 out of 10. She says, still holds up as one of the most entertaining and well-rounded sci-fi action movies of the past decade in my eyes. By the end of this rewatch, I was transported back to 2013 when I saw this at the drive-in at least twice that summer with my friends. So glad to see it's aged well.
I can't imagine watching this film in a drive-in.
Well, it would be kind of cool. And there she has the nostalgia. Summer with friends, you know.
Yeah, definitely.
Nostalgia working its magic.
Let me just say, I can see people liking this film. I'm not saying I don't understand that people like it, but those are just the reasons why I don't like it. It's a bad film.
Yes.
Have you seen it before, Paul?
No. Nostalgia goes a long way, Lucy. So,
Yeah.
Good one.
So next up we have a Romero 0618, and they gave the film a 7 out of 10. And they said Pacific Rim has held up really well. This movie is a definition of a big, stupid action movie, but at the same time really fun and creative. Del Toro creates the world in a pretty convincing way, and even though the story and performances are pretty mediocre, to be honest, everybody watches this movie to see robots fighting giant monsters, and in that field, the movie is excellent.
There we
There's
go.
Ben. That was Ben's review on Letterboxd.
I'm Romario.
Will you be upgrading it to a 7 as well?
Well, maybe. Maybe in defiance of you two boys.
Oh, I hope so. End of year special.
This is that film that's going to
Great.
keep being brought up every time now, isn't it? For different reasons.
Yeah, I think so. I think actually this is a watershed moment because this will be referred to in the future.
So
And
you didn't like
exactly,
We'll watch
and
a
I'm
film
sorry
and
to
it'll
say
be-
it's going to hamper you two in the future. It's not going to
Everyone will
hamper
be
me.
like, "How can
It's
you
going to
like
hamper
this
you two.
when you didn't like Pacific Rim?" And we'll be like, "How
Exactly.
can you not like this when you like Pacific Rim?"
Listen, boys.
Put this into perspective. Ben liked this more than Suicide Squad.
Oh, most certainly. Most certainly.
Ridiculous. That is so much fun, that film, and this is just boring.
Yeah,
Let's not start this all over again.
Yes, go on. Let's go to the next review.
A four-year-old thinks going to the park and looking at the beautiful trees and the lake is boring. The 4-year-old thinks watching Peppa Pig is fun.
My 2-year-old don't watch Peppa Pig. He watches Marvel.
Well, there we go. A Marvel, good enough for a 2-year-old. They should put that on
Hell
every
yeah.
poster.
Hell
Marvel,
yeah, boy.
good enough for a 2-year-old. Exactly. I don't want to watch movies that 2-year-olds want to fucking watch. I'm a grown-ass man. When I was 2, maybe, but when I'm a grown-ass man, I don't want to watch movies that are made for fucking 2-year-olds.
Let me just say that Woody's not old enough to watch the Marvel films yet because they're too actually old for him.
Yeah, but he wears the clothes, and he will as soon as he can, and that's because it's very easy and
Yes, of
palatable for a
course.
child to
Because-
enjoy.
Because
so adults
comics
can
are
enjoy,
for children,
yes.
and then
Yes.
they evolve over time.
They don't
Boys.
evolve.
For adults,
They
and
don't
then
evolve.
You grow old and you watch these films. You're like, wow, that was an adult version of that comic book.
Yeah, they don't evolve, mate. They
like this
certainly
film.
keep making them, but they do not evolve.
We're just going to keep shouting
Like
at
this
each other
film.
all day about this, and actually the conversation
What's
isn't
it? So
going to change.
I'm confused by this one. All right, Adam, I'm going to read the thing out. This comes from Hatercles, and they give the film a 4 out of 10, and they've done 2 points of view here. So the first one is a cinephile saying, "Oh my god, I can't believe people like the new Mulan. There are so many excellent wuxia movies available, but I guess that involves reading subtitles, so hey, just accept this lukewarm American version." Same cinephile. "Oh wow, Pacific Rim is so awesome. I love how the robots kill the evil kaiju. Such a loving tribute to Kaiju Eiger, which I'm super familiar with because I see all those goofy clips on Twitter." I don't know what the fuck you're talking about, mate. I don't know what you're talking about.
He's basically saying that people complain about Mulan because it's just a generic Americanized world of China, right? But then they'll watch Pacific Rim and it's just an Americanized version of a Chinese idea, but they'd like it.
Okay, that's quite interesting. But I feel
I know, but this happens in cinema constantly. It's Americans
Of course.
taking other people's ideas. Reservoir Dogs was a fucking French film originally, so
Number one film of all time.
well, there you go. So, whatever you're talking about, Hatercles, we ain't trying to hear that.
But we love you.
I don't.
I love you, Hatercles.
I don't like the way he talks because, or she talks, because I don't believe any cinephile says Pacific Rim is so awesome. Cinephiles would not.
That's very true.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
He got you, Hatercles.
Yep. Yes, indeed. Well, that's all good.
Lovely. Should we go to placing this film and let everyone know what Katie and Oti rate this film
yes.
as well?
Fuck me. We're going to place this number.
Okay, so just so everyone knows, Katie and Oti give this film a 6 out of 10, just like Ben.
Ooh.
Look at us.
Both
We're all
of them
in
This
fine
is
company.
insania.
Well, everyone, check this out now. Because Paul and Adam are so tragically misjudged in their opinion of this film, they've relegated.
I'm surprised
it.
how much you're trying to stand up for this film, Ben.
I know, come on.
Only because you are so wrong.
I
Yeah,
love
but
it.
even then, I
if
don't
we
feel
both
like-
if we all gave it a 6, you would have hated on this just as much as us.
Maybe, yeah, exactly. But it's because you. Anyway, it all comes out in the conversation.
You've got more
man. It's-
enjoyment
it's-
about taking the piss out of us than you actually have from this film.
No,
You know
like
it.
I said, listen, let me do this thing. So, because of what they've said, they've resigned it to the relegation zone immediately. So it's immediately gone into our bottom 10 films we've ever covered on this podcast. And it has its own unique score of, Paul, what was it? 4.8?
4.8.
4.8. No other film has a 4.8. So here you hear our bottom 10 in order. Number 1, as in bottom, American Psycho 2. Number 2, The Jesus Rolls, another Katie and Oti influenced film.
Indeed.
They like to have influence on the bottom 10.
Well, that was you influenced it, and they came along for it.
They influenced putting it in the bottom 10 by giving it a 1 and
okay.
a 1.5. Number 3, Tomb Raider. Number 4, Beyond Reanimator. Number 5, and this is the only salvation I can take from this, The Meg. And it goes right above The Meg. Just above The Meg. So at least we acknowledge collectively that it is better than that fucking piece of shit.
I mean, it's
And
going to
then-
go even lower once I give it a 5 as well.
What do you mean?
Eventually.
Oh,
when
yeah,
I
that's
eventually
true.
give the Meg a 5, it'll go even lower.
That's true. And then the remaining films in our relegation zone are 3 from Hell, In Time, Jason X, and Green Book, which means that Venom has been pushed up out of the relegation zone. And
Venom.
it lives to fight another day.
Look at that, Venom. You were saved.
Oh, yes.
Well, that is wonderful.
There you go.
I like to influence the bottom and top 10s.
The funny thing is, if I hadn't been so kind to it, because I did quite enjoy it, it really would have been like bottom 3 probably.
Oh, shit.
And there we go.
Well, in another life.
Anyway, let's move on to these next bits.
Okay, thank you, Katie and OT, for that film. We enjoyed it all in our own way, I guess.
I'm glad that Katie and Oti agree with me because it's like, yeah, they know it's bad, but also it had some redeeming stuff to enjoy.
Shall we move on to our Patrons Corner,
Yeah.
as we like to say? So this is where our patrons suggest films that they've been watching the past week, whether they like them or dislike them. It doesn't matter. They just want to tell us whether to watch it or avoid it. First of all, We have Julio from the Contrarians, and he says, if you don't have Apple TV, it's worth getting it for Come From Away. Much like Disney Plus did with Hamilton last year, Apple has released a recorded performance of a popular Broadway musical, this time to honour the 20th anniversary of 9/11. The show is about a small Canadian town that finds itself suddenly having to host 7,000 stranded airline passengers when American airspace is closed due to the 9/11 attacks. And I know it sounds like I'm just quoting copy, but man, I love this so much. I actually was lucky enough to catch the show pre-pandemic when they stopped in Austin, and I'm just thrilled that now it's out there, available for everyone to stream. Also, a bit of Filmbusters follow-up, I finally popped in my Criterion of Chaplin's Monsieur Vaudou, and Limelight was better. But it was interesting to see Chaplin playing an actual serial killer, so it's worth watching for that, if nothing else.
I
never knew he was a serial killer in
no.
that.
I
I'm
had
interested.
no idea. That sounds fucking interesting.
Defo.
But it's Chaplin, so it's going to be PG. How much of a serial killer can he be?
It'd be a stupid serial killer.
I'd say.
Oh, imagine him being clumsy oafish, tripping up and shit. As
That'll
serial
be-
killer.
He
That sounds
falls
well
over
fun.
and then the knife falls down a staircase and stabs someone in the head.
Oh, that sounds great.
Oh, mate, if only. I wish. I kind of don't want to watch that film now. I just want to pretend that is what it is. Like going after people with knives and then he stabs them and then you find out it's melting wax and shit. He ends up on his ass falling downstairs, slipping on blood and stuff.
That'd be brilliant. I bet it's nothing like that. I bet it's a serious one.
That Come From Away. They're advertising it all over the underground at the moment because I think it's in the West End.
Oh, is it? I haven't
Yeah, I
heard
did
it.
recognise
I
the
heard about
name,
it.
and as soon as he said it was a play, I was like, oh, okay, now I definitely know where I recognise that from.
Yeah.
I've heard a lot of people said it's amazing. I've heard,
The only person I've ever heard talk about it was Julio. I remember him talking about it on an episode a couple of years back.
Some guys at work told me it was really good. But that definitely sounds interesting.
I'm not
Especially
going to be
like
paying for Apple though.
Do you not have Apple?
if I get a new iPhone, maybe I can get that 6-month subscription or whatever it is.
There you go.
Do you not have one now? My Apple TV only expired, like, recently. It's also worth getting it for Ted Lasso, but we won't.
No, we won't talk about
Everyone talks about that.
Because it's amazing.
Is it actually?
Yes.
Is it sports?
that. It's filmed at Crystal Palace, mate. They film at Crystal Palace football
But this way,
ground.
Ben, Paul, the best way
Down
to
the road
describe it
from
is
me.
it's based around football, but even the main character in the show has no idea about anything to do with football.
That's the big joke, is my understanding. He's
Yeah.
he's an American who
It's
hasn't
all
got a
about
clue
positivity,
football.
happiness, and like just being like it's a generally just nice show.
Everyone likes it, so I'll hate it.
Same.
There we go. Come on, Adam, Katie and OT.
Anyway, so next up, we got Katie and OT, and they said, we really enjoyed the first 2 episodes of an anthology series, The Premise. It's about allyship and gun violence. Each are different tonally, but they both delivered in a layered message about topics that could easily be one-sided depending on your personal opinion. They said they're looking forward to more episodes on it. And they put up, is that 2 emojis of a bulletproof vest?
What?
It's
Two hands up.
It's hands going up, cheering.
Is it? No.
Where'd you see bulletproof vests?
I'm going to show... I don't know what your emojis are looking like, but on my screen... it
Mate,
does-
send a picture through WhatsApp now so we
Imagine.
can cover this live on the podcast to get your
Imagine.
understanding.
All right, it's going up. But they look
Right.
like you.
Let's look at this.
Shoulder straps, and then it's got like a 6-pack on it.
Oh shit! Yes, they are bulletproof vests on Adams.
That's what I thought because they're talking about gun violence. So I thought they put something about
What the
bulletproof
hell,
vests.
man?
That just goes against everything they're saying. Wear your bulletproof vests.
What the fuck?
It must be like an updated version of Skype or something. Like the emoji works for you,
Oh
but not
shit!
for me.
That's
Odd.
sinister. Imagine people that are like, "Don't worry, it's all good," and then putting hands up like that, and then they see bulletproof vests on the other side, and they're like, "What the fuck? You coming for me?" We were distracted by the bulletproof hands up emojis, but I haven't heard about The Premise, and it sounds very interesting. I don't know nothing about it.
Yeah, me neither. But it does sound interesting, yeah.
Yes. And finally, Jamie Russell says, I would highly recommend Invasion of the Body Snatchers 1978, another great updating of a 50s sci-fi horror B-movie that I would happily rank alongside my other favourites, The Blob, The Fly, and of course, The Thing. It has a great sense of creeping dread from the very beginning, and this is escalated throughout the entire film. Considering the tight budget, the practical effects are, on the whole, effective and appropriately unsettling. Without going into spoilers, this film has several moments that will stay with you, and is all presented with visual flair by Michael Taxi Driver Chapman. I will definitely be giving this one a rewatch. I've seen the original. I haven't seen the 70s remake.
When did the original come out?
In the 50s. And if I remember correctly, it ends with the guy, like, all these pods have come down to Earth, and he's on a highway, and he's screaming, they're coming, and then he runs to the camera, and he looks directly into the camera, and he goes, they're coming for all of you. Something like that, and then the credits roll.
Creepy.
Good for the time, eh? But now
yeah.
it sounds cheesy, but good for the time.
That'll be terrifying. It'll be people fainting in the cinema back then.
Yes. Oh, they're coming for me.
Oh, they've looked me in the eyes.
Yes, it must be real. Oh, the train's coming out of the screen. Oh. Martha and Martha are here for this episode.
I'll have to add that to the list.
Oh, yes. I haven't
I
seen
actually
the
added it
ones,
to
I'll
my
watch that.
list. I saw him put it on Letterboxd, and I was like, oh, he gave it a high rating now.
I feel like
I
Donald
thought-
Sutherland's in it, maybe.
I added straight to the list.
Max is going to town in his litter tray. Apologies.
He's doing a big old shit.
Oh, I believe so. He doesn't normally make that much racket, so he's dropped the clanger in there.
He's got a depth charge coming out.
Well, wonderful.
Yes.
Thank you everyone for your wonderful suggestions there. And I guess that just leaves one more thing before we finish this episode up.
Yes. What are we doing
We've got
next
to say,
week?
What are we doing next week? Adam, do you even remember what we're doing next week?
Something that Julio picked.
Yes, it's a Julio pick.
And
Another
Julio's
Patreon
moment.
pick.
oh, I think I remember what he said. And it's
What is
the
it?
most random film I think we've ever done. And
I think so.
The first
we-
musical.
yeah, and I feel like we could be doing this podcast for years, and we probably would even either number one mention this film,
Yeah.
even in passing, or think about doing it. Is it Jesus Christ Superstar or something like that, isn't it?
It is.
That is what we're watching next.
Oh wow! I literally remember that on the spot. I was like, "What was it?" Oh, then I remember the Twitter thread. I was like, "Oh shit!" A
Wow.
little DM chat that you can get if you become a patron.
I'm looking forward to that.
Our patrons really know how to suggest shit we would never normally watch, right?
Yes.
On our toes, always.
Bit of a
Absolutely.
different. I'm going for a different vibe than Pacific Rim.
Couldn't be more different, right?
Definitely.
If we can find a similarity,
if Jesus
wow.
fights a monster in this film,
Oh, imagine. It could be anything. I don't know whether this is like actually like biblical,
Yeah.
or if it's just like
it
it could be a comedy. It could be
Have a
anything.
colourful coat. That's all I know.
No, that's Joseph.
That's Joseph, mate. Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat. I close my eyes. I close my eyes. I drew
Pull
back,
back
the
the
curtain.
curtain. Ah.
Oh, lovely. That's a way to end.
Tales Masters.